How you all doing? Right then, let's try and work out what's locking both these engines up from the GTR 1000. So there we go, my project catastrophe. 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 How do you say catastrophe? Catastrophe. My catastrophe. Catastrophe. Oh, fuck off. Oh my god. That one's the original engine, and that is locking up at the bottom. That is the spare engine, and that seems to be locking up at the top. So what I think I've got to do is try to stick with the original engine because it's got the original numbers on. So let's start stripping this one down first. The first job we're going to do is see if we can find where the pin is to take this drive shaft out. Okay, so it turns out that was the pin in there. All you do is find something thin enough to fit in the hole, push it in and press, and then there we go. And I think I've lost the pin somewhere. I think that's it down there. Little tiny pin. Okay, so I've come to the realisation that if I want to split this engine, which splits just there, I've got to take all this transmission shaft drive thing off. It looks like it's had a screwdriver in it. Wow. I have to whip this off. I don't know if it'll come off all in one. It looks like it'll come off all in one, so let's try that. So we'll remove this first. 8mm bolt there. An 8mm bolt there. And I'll need an extension bar on that. That one. We can get that out of the way. So next let's get the water pump off. 10mm bolts, I can see 3. I don't think I needed to undo that one. We'll have to remove this clamp. Try that. That's seen better days, hasn't it? There we go. Now we can get to these bolts underneath. there we go. So we better put that safe. There's a push rod to keep that safe. This one has obviously been in there before. It's basically now all this drive shaft box is out. That is just the same as the GPZ 1000 RX engine. Nope, still a bit notchy and locking up. Ooh. So it's nothing to do with the trans box or whatever it is. Yeah, I best get all this off now as well. I can leave the clutch in. Okay, so that's those few bits removed. Then we'll have to remove these stator coils because they go right across the split of the engine. And then I think we could start taking the sump off. Okay, so now let's get all this sump cover off. I think all the way around is little 8mm bolts. There's an oil pipe here, it goes round to there. And I'll take the filter out as well. So let's get cracking, little bolts. So I would say this engine has been apart before. Well, definitely been apart before with all the gasket glue. And then we found this on top of the sump. And all this messy stuff. Gasket glue. Look at it all. It still doesn't show us why the engine's locked up though, does it? So let's delve a little deeper. So I think we've got to undo all these bolts on the top. I think there's two here. There's three down this side. And one over there at the back. Don't think there's any hiding in that. Sure these are too tight. Jesus. I think that one snapped. Perfect. Oh shit. Oh. Oh. too good. Wow. So I guess we've found our problem. I don't think that'll help the engine rotate very well. I tell you what, I'm over the moon that I found that. Believe it or not, I was thinking I wasn't going to find out what's wrong with it. Some of you people that take projects on will understand it can be a scary time. I'm now 80% sure I can get this bike back on the road. Why am I not too worried about that? Because if we go over here, we've got a spare one here. But hang on, just before we get too excited and overconfident, let's check the casing. Well, there's my broken stud. Here's all the fragments of metal from the bearing. That looks a bit of a mess. I don't know if I'd want to risk that. That is the engine case with the engine number on it as well. That's disappointing. That's very disappointing. It's got some really deep gouges. And the retaining clip is jammed solid in there. I could probably dress that up, but to me it looks like there's been a lot of wear there as well, where the bearing's been spinning. So rather than risk this happening again after a total rebuild, I will be using this top end crankcase. I know it's not got the right number on it, but I'll have to apply to the DVLA to change it to this one. Okay, so this is a few days later. We've come across a pretty major problem. Of course we have. Started cleaning the parts, and where that bearing was that broke up, I sort of noticed a step on here. Little step. Don't know if you can see it. And then when I investigated closer, turned it over to the other side, you can actually see there's a major fracture all the way through the crankcase. So I went digging through all the spare parts, thinking I didn't have a spare one of these, but it turns out I did. And where that main bearing was, it's all nice and good on this one. But I think this was the Achilles tendon of the other guy giving up the project. He's obviously bought this engine, stripped it all down, but he couldn't get this bolt out. What a mess he's made. And that is on both sides. But the worst part of it is, for some reason, he decided to drill through there. And then for some other reason, he decided, don't know if you can see that, drill all the way through the crankcase as well. So if we look on the inside, where are we? Just there. If you look just there, he's come all the way through with the drill. So somehow I've got to try and get that bolt out, and somehow I've got to try and plug that little hole. So I'm not going to go and source one of these because they're like stupid money just for a case. You know, you could buy another bike for the price they're wanting for the crankcases on eBay. So I'm going to try and salvage this and, you know, do a permanent bodge on it. So anyway, the next job will be trying to get that stud out, or that engine mount bolt out. So there we go, we can't have everything all hunky-dory, can we? But at least I can still fix it. So the next video will be trying to rebuild this engine. And thank you very much if you've made it this far. And I'll see you on the next one.